Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Song Radio Show, Red Pill Edition. My name is Leon Jones. And in this video, I want to talk about the media, on how it basically has a disdain for men to help women's self-esteem. So, the title of today's video is Men Need to Call Out the Media. Men need to call out the media. Now, many of us men watch sports. But one thing that we men do not pay attention to is the commercials that come on television. Whether it's during the Super Bowl, during the World Series. In fact, during the Super Bowl, you see a lot of these commercials. And some of them do slap men in the face. Now, there's an Allstate commercial out there where there's a woman driver. And there's the guy who's always causing a mayhem. Well, the guy who's always causing the mayhem is depicting a dog. He's going down there barking, he's biting all over the woman's pocketbook. And then the woman who's driving looks like a good driver. Now, you know how I feel about women drivers. Most of them are poor drivers. But they're making this guy who's causing mayhem look like a dog. And when she doesn't have an accident by distraction, and we know all women, I shouldn't say all women, but a number of women who drive are easily distracted. But when she says in that commercial, "Who's the dummy now?" and then the man starts barking out the window, and there's another man driving, the man in the next car, who's an African-American male, comes close to crashing. Now, if the roles had been reversed, where there was a woman actually causing an accident, which a number of women do cause accidents with their driving as well, but again, we live in a PC culture which suppresses men and it gives women all this artificial power, there would be a lot of outrage. There was another Allstate commercial where a man was dressed as a woman, putting on makeup, has jewelry on. This is the mayhem guy. Well, he was doing that because he was portraying the distractions that happen on the road, and particularly who's putting on the makeup. Women are putting on the makeup. Who's on the cell phone? Women are doing that. But see, what's happening is these commercials are really replacing the truth with fallacy. Now, I'm just going to put this out here to all you men. What we need to do is become very petty about the media. If we see any product, and I shout out the men for nailing Gillette, because Gillette has lost billions of dollars. Men, we need to go after everybody in the media. We need to go after the news people. We need to go after Hollywood so bad that we won't even accept parts in any movie that depicts us as a loser, as weak. And if we do that, we will cause the movie industry to lose billions. Because what is it? It's all about capitalism. It's all about money. A lot of these new programs that are coming out, particularly if you're in the comic book field, you love your superheroes, have actually taken superheroes that were once men and replaced them with women. Now, the funny thing about these shows that are run by women and directed by women, like Charlie's Angels, and that movie took a big flop because nobody watched it. You find these movies aren't any good. Why? Because they aren't original. See, when it comes to what's going on in this country, the reason why women have artificial power, because they're taking everything that men created and they're inserting themselves into the male parts. You see some of these action flicks where you have the round kick, or we call it the round kick kicking chick. She's winning, she's beating men. Now we know in the real world, most women are not going to beat a man. I don't care if she's Ronda Rousey, there's always going to be a man that's going to be able to take her down because we are physically stronger. But let's sit back and ask this question when it comes to the media. And there are other examples. Believe there was a video out where, and I love Alicia Keys music. Well, she had her son. Her son had rainbow painted nails. And her son didn't like the rainbow painting nails. But she said it was okay. Lied to her son, and she said all the boys are doing it. I'm paraphrasing here. But we know all the boys are not doing that. I think his name was Boris Kujo. He was one of these guys that was in that pussy march. You know, these women were wearing pussies on top of their heads. I had posted 2 years ago how he had his son put on pink fingernail polish. Now, that's still on my Facebook page. There was an award show where it was a black man who came out in a dress. Now, this isn't new in media. If any of you are familiar with that movie Colonel Klink played in, it was about a MASH. You had a guy in there that was dressed as a woman. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people who did not look at it because they filter everything out because they like MASH, because it was funny, some people. But as a man, that wasn't funny to me. Now, we men got to start doing better by organizing to take down this media. We're not. Now, who is really standing in our way? I'll tell you who's standing in our way. Your baited cucks, your simps, your white knights, your manginas. These are the guys who want to be validated by women. And the reason why they want to be validated by women is because they have low self-esteem about themselves. I mean, these guys are in powerful positions. These guys have all the money. But at the end of the day, these guys won't call out the media because they're benefiting off the profits that they get from the media. But they will call out guys like you and me who are red pill who will attack the media. In fact, it's we red pill men who are standing in the way of a complete takeover of men being estrogenized. And if you don't believe me when it comes to what's going on in TV, I was watching an episode of Empire one time. And I believe her name was Tarji Henson. She walked in on her son, a white guy, in bed together. Now, first of all, how are you going to leave the door open and your mom walks in while you and another guy are having sex? So that already depicts men right there as being irresponsible. And I talked about this with my boy B Hack. Shout out to you, B Hack, and my boy Hostre. Shout out to you, Hostre, because we always chop this up every time we have a collaboration, whether it's on the phone or on video. But a lot of men in this country, and I hate to say this, We can put out videos all day. But many of us are afraid of the system. How are you going to be afraid of something when you have the power? This is what I don't understand. You know, the beta cucks and the simps, we got to go after them. Once you take them down and you infiltrate that force, there's going to be nothing women can do. Now, again, this is not a video hating women. This is a video that I want guys to understand. The media makes a mockery out of us. Remember, there was a show, I don't know if it was The Talk. It was The Talk. And Kelly Osbourne was on that show. And they were talking about a man's penis being grinded up in a garbage disposal. Now, what if I got a panel of guys and we went on our show and we called it Street Talk, and we were talking about cutting off a woman's breasts and having that breast grinded up in a meat grinder? That show would be off the air. And so what I'm saying, all these women are screaming for equality, then equality should work both ways. Well, their version of equality is to take a man's power and suppress it while they have power to voice their free opinions. Well, that's not equality. See, true freedom of speech is to agree with speech that doesn't make you feel comfortable. Or, let me put it in other terms. It's to have speech that you don't agree with. Now, do I agree with what the Ku Klux Klan says? No. Now, some people might not understand what I'm going to come out on this video, but I'll stand with what they say. Why? Here's why I say it. Because they should be free to say whatever they want without repercussions. As a black man, I should be free to say what I want to say. Because, again, true freedom of speech is also accepting speech you don't agree with. So a feminist says something about a man, I'll defend that feminist for freedom of speech, even if the freedom of speech isn't true. But when it comes to media, why don't we have freedom of speech? Why do we have to continue to make one gender feel good while we suppress the other gender? Because the gender that we're trying to make feel good isn't producing anything. They're benefiting off of what has been produced by the suppressed gender. Now again, this is not a video slapping women. I'm going at the media because the media has a lot of corporate media moguls who are men, and they're utilizing women to keep their power. In other words, women are the buffer between hardworking guys like me and their power. And the reason why the media moguls want to suppress men like me is because we have the numbers. We wanted to. We could take down a Tyler Perry studio. We could go and take down a 21st Century Fox. We could go take down a Disney. Even if we had to do it with violence, we could do it. Why? Because we have the numbers. We are the ones who spend money. Now, if we don't have to use violence, what we need to do is boycott. But too many men are sitting home right now playing fantasy football. Too many men are kicking back, thinking with their dicks. They want that pussy so much, they are afraid to take on situations that are basically ruining the Western civilization. Again, as men, we can alleviate feminism today. We can say no more. You think if we put women on one side of the country and men on the other side of the country, they would win? No, they would not win at all. I could myself. You have 10 women in the house, and I could take them all out. Why? Because I'm strategically smarter than they are. And when I mean strategically, I'm not emotional. I'm trying to win. They're trying to feel good. But we as men have allowed the media to portray us as dogs, bumbling idiots, individuals who are incapable of putting a diaper on a baby. Now, the reason why I'm talking about putting a diaper on a baby is because there was a Huggies commercial out, maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 years ago, that depicted fathers as incapable of changing a diaper. So what happened in that commercial, the women left and the men had all kinds of problems changing a diaper. And when the women got home, the commercial made the women look like they saved the day by changing the baby's diaper. Now, men, including me, wrote to the Huggies Corporation. That commercial was taken off the air. Now, a number of us are doing YouTube videos. Well, in order for men to keep their videos monetized, why don't we all take a trip to YouTube and confront them? You see, one thing that these companies don't want, they don't want confrontation. See, they sit back in their ivory tower offices and they talk a lot of bullshit. But you think they're going to raise their hands? Hell no, they're not going to raise their hands because they're scared. And sometimes you got a lot of fire under somebody's ass to get them to do what you want them to do. But as men, we're not doing that. We don't organize. And this is what I don't understand. I mean, when I'm seeing Allstate commercials depicting man as a dog, man as a woman, when I'm seeing the Oscars where a man comes out in a dress, men have to be accepted to be transgender at the age of 6. This is all media doing that. And the reason why you have a number of sons who are not going anywhere, it's because their mamas are lying to them. Again, like Alicia Keys, telling her son that boys wear fingernail polish, which is bullshit as well. But at the end of the day, it's we as men. Toxic masculinity, who came up with that? There's nothing more toxic than feminism. Feminist Marxism. That basically suckers women into believing a bunch of BS that they're equal. No, women are not equal. And I'll say it right here on the video. Women are not equal. If you go look in the workforce, corporations plant a bunch of women in human resources so they'll hire other women. And what happens when you give a woman a job, a leadership position? She becomes very tyrannical and destructive. Because a number of women out here, in essence, don't think of anything like investing. Not saying no woman has leadership skills, because the ones who are running their home and they're running it correctly have leadership skills. But what's going on today, when you take the man out of the picture in every aspect of civilization, you become Rome. And why did Rome fall? Because individuals wanted to do what they wanted to do. They took structure. Men create civilizations. Men create structure. But when the man is no longer in the picture, you don't believe me, you look at the black community. Then you got nothing but chaos. You look at all the churches, the black churches. The reason why the black church is a failure because there are really no standards. Black church accepts feminism, single motherhood, homosexuality, because there are a number of homosexual preachers out here, a number of women preachers out here. The churches used to be led by men. The churches used to be a social gathering during the civil rights movement for African Americans so they could strategically plan where their next march is going to be. No longer. In fact, there's no bigger thief in the church than that black pastor. There's no bigger disrespectful man in that black church than that black pastor, because he seizes the opportunity to take money from African American women. But African American women don't see this yet. And a lot of guys are afraid to confront that black pastor because that black pastor isn't telling men about anything when it comes to leadership. Because see, the black pastor is just looking for customers. And it's much easier to get female customers than it is male customers, because what do females do when it comes to money? They spend it. This is why you have alimony. This is why you have child support. Because men, for the most part, we manage our money. We're going to always question where our money is going, because we don't believe in spending our money on frivolous BS. And what we men need to do, we need to boycott everything when it comes to media. Even if we had to boycott YouTube and start our own. Now, I know most men aren't going to do that. But once we boycott all the media outlets, and that includes the news, that includes all the movies, we say no more, don't give our money to any of these outlets, then they'll straighten up. Again, you look at Gillette. You don't see a lot of Gillette commercials on because Gillette screwed themselves. So when you make fun of men, it's eventually going to come back to harm you. Again, you look at YouTube. This is supposed to be an outlet for everybody to express themselves. But when it comes to men making videos, YouTube will suppress the views. They don't like to send notifications like they used to. They'll suppress your likes, dislikes, subscriber count, because YouTube really doesn't want men to make money. Meanwhile, when it comes to the women, they have a lot of hate speech. YouTube allows it. So when you allow one gender to voice how they feel and suppress the other, there's no balance. And this is what gives women their egos. Because women know as long as the beta cucks and the simps and the white knights and the mangina and the eunuchs are running everything, they're going to be safe. But what real men got to do, you got to boycott by taking the money out of these corporations' hands. And the way you do it is you don't go and spend your money on entertainment. And that includes sports. If you look at the NFL, you look at how many female announcers or female analysts. How many females even know about football? How many of them can spell football? It's because they have a pretty face and long hair. Many of them don't know about the game of football. But again, it's these networks. They're putting women out there. Because the only women I can tell you who know about the sport, I know there's Linda Cohn, Susie Colbert. Those were the individuals who were on ESPN. That's when ESPN was good. The rest of them don't know anything about football, but they have them all. And you have some good ones who know about women's college basketball. But see, what's happening is, when it comes to entertainment, like sports, the WNBA, they got good women's players. But they don't have the Cheryl Swoops in there like they had in the beginning. Well, you think about it. To create equality, what's happening? The NBA is subsidizing the WNBA because the WNBA is not putting out a good product. But too many of us men, our heads are in the cloud. And we don't care until something happens to us. And at the end of the day, if we don't get our heads out of the sand, we're going to continue to be suppressed more and more. Because this feminist agenda is a satanic agenda. You have a lot of succubi out there who are taking power away from men, and they're keeping men suppressed. You think about it. This Hollywood agenda doesn't want men in leadership roles. You can see that. It does not have any liking for men. But you got men running it. But now you have a slew of female producers and directors, like the one who directed Charlie's Angels. And there are a number of movies that men put out that weren't any good. Just chalk it up to the game. Now, Tyler Perry did a red pill movie called Acrimony. I analyzed it. Do you know that movie? Nobody talked about it. Why? Because that movie was one that didn't curtail to an African American woman's feelings. And in that movie, Tarji Henson, who played the wife, utilized the family or listened to the family to get a divorce. She gets that divorce. Well, the brother finally got money, and he even gave her $10 million, and she still wasn't satisfied. And when it comes to these movies, the plight of men in these movies is always going to be one of self-loathing, bumbling idiots, men who are not capable of putting two sentences together. You look at Modern Family, two gay guys. You had Ed O'Neill, who married the younger Spanish woman. But see, yes, the gay guys, they had children. They actually did a good job. But the family that I always keep my eye on is the one who had the real estate guy and the domineering woman and the smart-mouthed daughters. That family right there. The dominating woman wasn't even working. But the real estate guy, he was doing all the work, but he wasn't respected. His daughters, they were grown. They all lived at home. You see what's happening now? Too many of us are looking at television and we are putting the image in our head as if it's reality. Well, what we need to do as men, as reality, is boycott everything. Yes, I'm repeating myself and I'm talking very slowly because I want you all to get this content. In fact, repetition is the mother of all skill and teaching. What I'm teaching you guys is you need to be more detailed when you look at all of these television shows. You need to be more observant and start doing more people watching. And the women you're dating, you need to see if they believe in this media. Again, if women believe in the institutions of education, religion, media, private sector jobs, and government, you need not to date that woman. Because her talking points are basically going to come from those 5 institutions. And those 5 institutions are utilized to brainwash women. Again, women, and I'm not saying all women, so please miss me with the bullshit. What I'm saying is a number of women have a herd mentality. And that feminism, which creates that herd mentality, creates narcissism, which gives women that what we call artificial power. Because women really don't have the power. Because at the end of the day, if it weren't for the men who gave the women this power, women would be at home in the kitchen. And that's where some of them need to be. Because many of these women aren't even teaching their daughters how to cook. They're utilizing their sons as their husband. But women are the ones who believe in suppressing men. Now, again, it's not all women. But if you're a man, you need to have your eyes open. Because everything that we are doing is being scrutinized. We as men, who are hardworking men who spend our money, we need to continue to take on these media moguls. Because at the end of the day, it's our future, it's our choice, it's our money. Let's stop allowing the media to suppress us as individuals who are useless. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. Also, check out my Blog Talk radio show. I have it every weekend. You can check out my Mind of STEM channel. And if you don't know where any of those channels are, check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Because when it comes to your mind, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And remember, be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Always know that the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. That concludes this video, and I want to say thank you for listening. My name is Leon Jones. You have a wonderful and blessed day. God bless you. I'm out.